Right, hello, welcome to the Leaveus Builds YouTube channel. So today I just want to do a little speed build of something spooky to get us in the spooky season for Halloween. So I decided to build up this little witch house. So we start off here down at the base, start by building this foundation with some supports in between. Try and make them a bit unique, try and make them a bit knobbly and a bit not perfect. So you can see that sometimes they're in different locations. Come around the front, just lay a little base around the edges, just to help provide a little bit of a difference between the grass and the structure. Put that round, and then time to start building the front part of the building. This is the most, I guess, interesting bit of it. They're both interesting, but this bit I'm really happy with how it came out. So start off by laying down this foundation here, just using dark oak, stripped dark oak and brown terracotta to create that. Or is it black terracotta? Brown terracotta? It might be one of the two. And then using the walls, we've got quite an interesting pattern I saw on another build, so it's muddy mangrove roots and the mangrove wood. So that creates this really interesting wall pattern that has a little bit of gaps in it that just helps add that feeling of a bit worn down, a bit shabby, but still looking solid enough. So I'm really happy with that block palette. As you see, we start working our way up to the second and then the third floor, putting the roofs on the different sides. So I was actually really happy with the roof on the main tower. This is something I had an idea of, but I wasn't 100% sure. But basically the idea was to build a wonky witch hat. So as you can see, I've got the base is kind of slanted upwards towards the back right corner, and then start building up this witch hat shape. And I'm so happy with how it turned out. I really like the shape it's got and the effect it gives, and I think it's perfect. Now move down onto the front and start doing up some details for the windows and stuff like that. I put this bottom one as like boarded off to kind of show that she's the witch that lives there. She's not particularly social. Got some plants in as well, just to add that kind of overgrown sort of vibe, as well as some pumpkins, because it's a Halloween build, so you've got to have pumpkins. Experimented with giving the pumpkin a face, but I couldn't find something that I liked, so I ended up just leaving it as a blank pumpkin. Build a second one behind it. Really happy with how they turn out. They add a nice bit of colour that contrasts really well with the dark oak. Now moving back onto the second building, so I started off by building a little crane structure. The idea of this was to hold a cauldron that the witch could use to move up and down, move her brews and stuff, or whatever she's making, her potions, up and down. So as you can see, we come back over here, build up that crane structure, and then start building the cauldron. I'm quite happy with how this turned out. It's a unique thing. I filled it up with some sort of green potion. If it was bigger, you could probably get more of an effect with the glass, but I didn't have that space in that cauldron. But you can see, build the crane up, take a few touches, and I'm not 100% happy with the crane, but I think it does the job. And now we come on to the main structure. So this, I kind of had an idea of building like a gothic sort of house. So as you can see, we go quite big and then have these very spiky parts to make it look very gothic-y and very spooky. That was kind of the idea behind it. Come around onto the side, build these walls up, and I'm happy, again, using that same block palette of the mangrove and the mud, which I think is really cool for this build, and definitely something I'd recommend trying if you want to build something kind of swampy sort of vibe. Coming around, doing all of these gothic sort of structures, high roofs, the very spiky, and then come around onto the back for the final wall, build that up. Fill the roof back on and just bring it all down to the ground, make it nice and connected. Now it's time to detail the windows, so I decided on this little pattern with the spruce and the mud. I think that adds a nice bit of contrast, but not too contrasty. So I did that on all of the sides, as you can see. Then I decided to help with the overgrown feel. I put some plants on the roofs. I think this is really cool. Adds a nice bit of colour to the build, helps it pop a bit, and just adds a bit more interest and a bit more shape to otherwise. It's an interesting build, but I always found that sometimes if you just leave builds on their own without a bit of greenery or a bit of something, they can look a little bit bland and a little bit uninteresting. So that's what we did. Then coming down to the bottom here, I wanted to make a little place where the witch can do her brewing outside and be protected from the weather. So lay down this floor and started getting some clutter in, lots of chests, barrels, potion stations, stuff like that. Got some vines hanging down from the ceiling, and then started getting some mushrooms and some other funky plants that you might expect from a swamp or a weird magical witch's place. Jumping back outside, finishing off this main area here, we just put a railing round and started building a tree, a custom tree. So this was a really cool tree. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Very swampy sort of vibe. If I had world edit or something like this, I probably would have pasted it around a few more times, maybe like rotated, but I didn't want to. It took quite a while to build that tree, so I didn't really want to keep building more. And then just finish off the landscaping. We came down, built this cool waterfall, which really runs down and adds a bit more colour, adds that bit of blue. And then started shaping some of the terrain and giving it a bit of texture to make it look a bit more swampy. So using the mud, coarse dirt, soul sand, and the muddy mangrove roots I think we used, just adds a bit more colour. And then to add to the extra spooky feel, put in some dead trees. We got a dead oak tree and a dead spruce tree on both sides. So I think that really looks cool. Really helps with the vibe, helps sell the scene. And then coming back around the front, just some dead bushes and a few more pumpkins, just helps add more interest into the garden, a bit more colour. And there it is, there's the final result. That's our witch's hut, so enjoy this quick view. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's quite cool. Maybe next time we'll try and get some shader views in, but yeah. So if you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe would be much appreciated. I'm going to start doing some more interesting stuff. This is more just to test out the replay mod and get used to it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.